Oh, wow. We are live. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club on Clubhouse. Thank you so much for being here. We are live on LinkedIn, guys. We are live on LinkedIn. I'm so excited, really, really excited to be here. So, you guys should really stay tuned because we're going to be here for the next few minutes. Welcome, J Deep. Welcome, Aquinet, welcome, Sopranica. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Feel free to raise your hand. We're also going to be on LinkedIn as we speak. And we're going to be talking about, welcome, Viraj. We're going to be, wow, welcome, Meredith. Thank you all for being here. And if you're on LinkedIn as well, thank you so much for being here. I'm definitely going to be reading the comments. And if you have anything, just let me know. And this is exciting, guys. This is exciting. So, this is what I would say. We are going to be talking about Pinterest and SEO marketing pro tips. And these pro tips are pro tips that you should be taking into consideration because when you are creating content on Pinterest, you have to be very careful about how you are creating content, who you're creating content for, and how that content is relating with them. So we're going to be talking about three key tips here. And if you're on LinkedIn Live, you can also look at my screen. Make sure that you're able to really understand that this is where you want to be, this is where you want to create your content, and this is how you want to build your Pinterest strategy. So, the first point, I'm going to get right into it. The first point is keyword research. Now, we always talk about keyword research on Pinterest, right? We always talk about, oh, you have to do keyword research. You have to know what Pinterest and SEO marketing does. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm looking for the words. Okay, yeah, you found the words, but are you using those words? How do those words resonate with you? You know? And you are very, very focused on understanding that, okay, now I need to focus on content. Now I need to focus on strategy. So, where do you find your content research? Where do you find your content marketing tools? This is where you go to for content research, for keyword research. When you're on Pinterest and SEO for marketing, you are using Pinterest and SEO marketing as a tool to understand that you're relating with your audience. You're giving people value. You're telling people what to do, where to go. You can't just be posting. If you keep posting things you're gonna keep posting 10,000 pins and nothing is happening, and you'll be wondering, am I not posting enough? Am I not posting enough? You need to understand that when you're posting content on Pinterest, you are marketing for the reason being that somebody is going to find something that you're presenting to them as a need. You're solving a problem. That's the thing. You are solving a problem. You're either giving them an idea to solve a problem or something to try, something to do, something to think about, something to change. It's all about inspiration. So when you're using Pinterest, make sure that you're able to use it to your best advantage. So those are the things I will definitely tell you. Now, when you're creating content, this is what you need to think about. In keyword research, I'm going to stay here for a little bit. And before I go any further, if you're in the audience and you use Pinterest, please raise your hand. Okay, one, two, okay, two people. So Pinterest business. Now, I want to let the rest of you know too that Pinterest is a platform that is visual. You don't want to confuse that at all. When you're using Pinterest for business, it's no longer Pinterest for, oh, I'm just using Pinterest to pin things and save things. Now, people are coming to your Pinterest to look for your things, to look for things that you have. It's like going to a store. It's like going to your place and saying, I'm looking for this. I'm going to the kitchen. I'm looking for where the forks are. Like, am I gonna find them? Like, you have to think about how can I guide you from the door to that fork. And sometimes it takes a while to really understand that. And I don't know why, but over time, the better you're able to understand that, okay, I'm using keyword research. Okay, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to make sure that I'm done understanding that long tail keyword research is going to be repetition of the day. So how can I take this 2, 3, 4, 5 words, put it together in a sentence or two, and tell people exactly what to do after they've heard that or after they've seen that? And you will realize that when you're using keyword research, it's going to be so good for you. So make sure you're using keyword research. Now, We're at the 5th minute mark. This is a Pinterest and SEO marketing room. Thank you so much for being here. This is the club where we're able to give you value. We are on LinkedIn Live as we speak. If you're on my LinkedIn, go to my LinkedIn. You're going to see me there live as well. So I really want you guys to have a really good connection with me and see how we can be able to create value. So when we're thinking about content research, keyword research, welcome Jessamy, welcome Jad, welcome Cherry, welcome Karthik. Like you guys are I'm so excited to really know what you guys are thinking about Pinterest, about how you're creating content strategy. So as I'm on LinkedIn Live today, this is the Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club. We're here, welcome Marnay. We're here to make sure that you understand exactly what Pinterest is going to do for your business, what it's going to do for you as a consumer. Because sometimes when you think about Pinterest, it's hard to really track that. It's really hard to say, okay, is this working for me? Am I using these keywords right? How many keywords do I have to use? Like before you know it, you're so overwhelmed. You're so like, okay, I don't really want to do this. And I understand, there's imposter syndrome. There's a way people will be like, oh no, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. This is hard. It's not really hard. It's really about, do I want to make this something that someone is going to say, okay, now I understand how to use Pinterest. Now I understand how to apply this method. Now I understand how to do this. And you're here. You're here on Google. You're here on Pinterest. You're here on LinkedIn. You're here on this platform. We're on Clubhouse. And I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that using keywords is the gateway to your audience. Let me say that again. Your keywords are the gateway to your audience. Everybody has an audience, wherever you are. But at the same time, you need to know that your audience needs you more than you actually, I would say, need them. Because you don't want to leave them lost and they don't want to leave you stranded either. So you have to help each other. It's a team effort. Team effort is, can I trust you enough to make this decision? Can I trust you enough to say, okay, I have this business, I have this idea. Can you help me? If I also need help too, like I'm not the best in everything, I still need help too. So if you're thinking about focusing on creating content and creating value, my idea is by the time you are done helping people and giving value over time, you will know that it's going to help you with Pinterest, SEO, marketing, your brand, the colors that you use. Imagine coming to your store and I see all these wonderful colors. I'm going to stay. I'm going to look at all these colors and I'll be like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I want to be part of this. Maybe that's my favorite color. It's not even about the product. It's because you had a color that they liked. So you have to be very focused. Welcome to Mika, Eric, and Karthik. We're here in the LinkedIn Live and Pinterest and SEO marketing room. We're talking about, how you can be able to use Pinterest for business. And by the way, let me let you guys know this right now because I've not said it on Clubhouse yet. And we're also on LinkedIn because I'm going to be here for the next few minutes and I want you guys to know. So if you look at the link in my bio, or just literally just look at my Instagram. And before you even get to my Instagram, since you're on Clubhouse here, as we're on LinkedIn too, look at my Clubhouse bio. And when you scroll down, you will see that there's a masterclass and there's a summit. We're going to be having those things coming up next month. And I'm excited because the masterclass and the summit, those are two things that I really want you to be a part of because yeah, we're on Clubhouse. Yeah, we've been adding all this value, but I think there are some businesses and some people I've talked to, and I love their vision. I love their story. I love what they're doing for the family, for the future. We're really building each other up. It's about collaboration. So I'm like, what's the best way to do this? So I launched about 2 workshops. If you check out playinc.online/Pinterest and you scroll down, you will see where you can access the free workshops, or just check my link tree. When you click the link in my bio, you will see that we can be able to build this together and you can really understand how to use this for your benefit. Some people say, oh, I applied this now, Pinterest is ranking on my website. You're wondering, oh, did that just happen? No, that was strategic. So it can happen for your business too because everybody's Googling. Like we have people Googling right now, So if you really want to be a part of this, DM me, and then follow the instructions in my Clubhouse profile and then DM me and then let me know, and we can be able to have this conversation forward, and then I can be able to send you the direct link for that, because we're going to have early access, and you guys, it's intense. I'm really excited to show you exactly what this is. And this is my first LinkedIn Live. That's why I'm really happy. Like, we have like, go to my LinkedIn, you will see me, and we can be able to have a conversation. So if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to let's have a talk, because I want to be here for the next few minutes to give you this value. So we've talked about keyword research. Pinterest and SEO go together. You cannot do Pinterest without SEO. Yes, you can do it if you don't have a business account, but if your business account is on Pinterest, just like you have a business account on LinkedIn, on Instagram, these are accounts that have, business accounts. Like, you think about TikTok, you can also have a pro account there too. So when you're using your keywords, when you're using your data, how are you connecting the dots together? How is all this content back to your website, back to your Pinterest, back to your Instagram? So now I want to ask this question before I go any further, because I have 3 solid points for you today. So by a raise of hands, by a show of hands, how many of you have a website or are working on a website? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay. So amazing. So what I would say is this is great information, because I really want you to, and you can keep your hands up if you want me to bring you up. I will bring you up if you want me to bring you up. So keep your hands up a little bit more if you want me to bring you up. So I feel like this is really where you can be able to build your audience. And as you're building your audience, you understand that keyword research is the rule of the day. So sometimes you have to be very careful on how you're able to build content and give people value over time, so that when you're creating content, it's not just, oh, I'm just building Pinterest and SEO marketing for myself. You have to be very focused on how you can be able to do this for your business and for other people. So the first thing is with your website. When you have your website, most people think about, oh, I'm going to get the website done, I'm going to publish the website, and then the website is up. But the website is not indexed to Google. The website has no Google Analytics. The website has no traffic. The website has no heat map. The website has nothing to show that it is active. Yes, it's active, it's online, but is anybody finding you? Do you have your H1 tag connected to your keyword? Do you have a call to action? Are your pictures, named correctly? If you have an image of a photography and you're trying to put something out and it's called image 123, it's not going to read well when it's uploaded to the server. So when you have a website, think about those little things. Compress your images. Go to compressor.io. Go to that website. Compress your website. Make sure that it's fast enough for your mobile, because the slower your website is, the higher your bounce rate is. And all these SEO things we're talking about are not going to make sense, because it's not going to really apply to you at this point, because you have a website that has 5 megabytes of of an image. You don't want to do that. So when you're creating content, be very specific. Even when you're creating content with your business, understand this. You are adding value when you're adding pictures, rich content that people can digest, both to the internet and both to you as a consumer. So think about your keyword research, especially when you're building your website. Number 2, here we go. Number 2, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm so glad that you're also here as well. Thank you so much. This is my first LinkedIn, and also welcome Marianne as well. If you guys have any questions, please just raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. But you also need to have your bio and a picture connected, so that we can be able to see you and everything. So yeah, back to what I was talking about. The second thing you see on the screen, and I need to tell you on Clubhouse too, is the pins and boards need to have placements. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but on Pinterest, when you have a board and you're creating a board, right? The board could be the first board you create, and then 2 months later you create like another board, and then it ends up being at the bottom of your feed. I don't know if you've realized, but you can reorder how it is. Think about your Instagram, right? I'm sure a number of you would have wished that if you posted something on, let's say, last week, and you wanted to post something again this week, and you wanted to connect the grill and the grid, actually, it's lunchtime. The grid, when you think about the grid and you want to say, okay, I want to match these pictures up. I want to make sure that it's a cohesive look. On Pinterest, You can have 15 boards, 20 boards, 3 boards, and reorder them in the order that you want people to look at them. So think about your grocery store. Think about your place that you always go to. You know that, okay, I want to go to the kitchen. I want to get some coffee. I know exactly where the coffee maker is and I'm going to pick it up. That's literally what it is on Pinterest. So if you're giving them a board, you have 5 boards, tell them, okay, this board has this. After you see this board has this. Before you know it, you're giving someone a user experience that is completely different from what they get every day on Pinterest, because you can see a million things on Pinterest and not click anything. It's so possible because Pinterest is full of everything, because it's a visual search engine. So I really want you to understand this, guys, that when you're using Pinterest, you're using Pinterest as a business account to rank on Google by placing images and videos with blogs and text images. That's structured data. That's all structured data back to your website so that you can be able to rank and also appeal to people that are focused on your keyword. So the keywords that you use are so important. Make sure that you look at your search bar, the ones that have the bold letters in them. Think about your related keywords. Think about your trends. Think about the Pinterest tag manager. Make sure that you have that connected, because that's also going to help you discover these things that you're finding, because it's really bad for you to start practicing on Pinterest and start saying, oh, I'm going to post this on Pinterest, and then it doesn't rank for the right thing, and then your picture is completely in the wrong folder. You don't want to do that, because you're going to attract the wrong audience and you're not going to get the right data, and that's not going to help you scale. So when you're on Pinterest, you have to understand this. This is the way to go. Understand that you're creating content for your business by having content marketing skills. Someone asked me, okay, I don't want to write blogs. I don't feel like blogs are my thing. I don't write. I don't really write. I just post pictures. I'm like, okay, cool. You can post pictures. Yeah, you can post pictures, but the file name of that picture that you post needs to have a keyword in it. When you're doing YouTube, when you're doing Pinterest, when you're doing Instagram, these are things that people, like, they literally miss them. It's so crazy. Like, they miss them. You just say, oh, I posted this picture, but when I look at the file name, it has nothing to do with the image. It has no keywords in them. It has no structure. And then you're complaining that you're not ranking because you didn't do your first due diligence to make sure that you can make that happen. So my idea and my goal today on Clubhouse, and especially on LinkedIn Live too, because this is my first LinkedIn Live and I'm coming back again here next week. And I'm really, wanting to make this happen, that you understand exactly what we're talking about. So when I say pins and boards placements, understand that you can recreate your order of your pins, your boards. Make sure that they all have descriptions. And all those descriptions, let it be a sentence or 2 or maybe 3. Don't be too stuffy. Like, make sure that they are long tail keywords. So if it's recipes to try during Easter, right? Recipes to try during Easter. I'm giving a very hypothetical example right now. Now you're gonna have an Easter folder, or you're gonna have probably projects to try or ideas to try folder, depending on if it's ranking or not. So don't use what I'm saying. Go do your research. So when you do that and you see that the words are in bold or some of them are repeating themselves, search for keywords. You'll notice that the image, the video, the link, the alt text, the board, everything is connected to that same word that was first intentionally practiced to get to the top of the feed. It's not by accident that it got up there. I've typed in Pinterest marketing, and now some of my feeds show up on Pinterest. And now I'm like, okay, even my website is telling me I'm getting more traffic from Pinterest than from Google. So it's because I'm now seeing that there's really a visual impact that's being created. Just yesterday, I was talking about, okay, let's say you've built your website. You've never ranked on your website at all. You don't even know where to start. This is what I said, and I put it out. If you go to my Pinterest, you're going to see it there. I said that go to your Google Search Console, which you have connected. When you connect that, you're going to see something next. You're going to see a place where it says URL inspection. Click the URL that you want to actually add that is active on your website already. And if it says that it's not active or Google is not picking anything up, there's something called request indexing. What that does for you is that when it indexes your website, all the keywords that you have in your heading tag, and you must have at least one heading tag each web page. It shouldn't be like a double because it's going to confuse the algorithm. So just like you have one title, one picture, one post, just make it look clean. And then do that consistently, right? And then that keyword that you've indexed into that website is going to start tracking on Google. And if you have images in there, it's going to start crawling the website. So make sure that you're able to do these things consistently, right? Now, the next thing is when you have your pins and boards, the placements, make sure that your keywords are there, your titles are there, your descriptions are there. Those things are making sense as you're on LinkedIn, as you're on Pinterest, as you're on your Google site. Those things are going to make sense. And when you're starting to create content, stay consistent. One site I'm going to tell you today, and I'm really giving you guys really good information. So please, this is information that I'll be telling you about, more of these in the masterclass and much more. And if you look at my bio, just click my Clubhouse bio, and you can see, if you scroll down in the middle towards the bottom section, you're going to see, before you start scrolling, you're going to see two sections. We have a masterclass, we have a summit. The deadline is going to be July 10th, and it's going to be running on July 13th and 14th. So make sure that you're able to DM me, let me know, send me a message. I'm going to respond back to you with the direct link. If you're on our email list, you're going to get it directly because you're going to get that exclusive information and more. So it's so great to be here and really help a lot of businesses grow and see how they can turn from negative monthly viewers to over 100,000 monthly viewers, and getting huge YouTube subscriptions and building email lists and seeing businesses boom. Your bounce rate is almost 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. When you have a bounce rate that is that low, that just tells you that everybody's coming to your website because you have that content. And Google is going to credit you for that because you have keywords connected. So guys, I'm really serious about this. If you're really serious about this, make sure that you understand what your goal is and how you want to put it together. So your pins, your boards, welcome Crystal. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd love to contribute, please feel free to come on stage. I'm on LinkedIn Live and I'm also on Clubhouse. So I'm talking about Pinterest and SEO marketing. I'm on the second topic, and I'm so happy that, you're all able to be here and listen. Thank you, Marianne, for being here. I'm so excited to have you here. Tamika, Zarak, and Christina, thank you so much for being here as well. So we're talking about Pinterest and SEO marketing in the club today, and we're focusing on 3 pro tips. The first one I talked about was keyword research. Do your due diligence to do your research. Make sure your title, your image, all your file names, all the keywords, like your research goes beyond the posting. Like your research should be like 70% of your workflow, and your content strategy and design should be 30%, if I really want to break that down. Because the moment you start having an 80-20 rule, you start applying 20%, 80% of the 20% of things that are important, then 80% of your results are going to be based on that 20% effort that you put in. So make sure that you're focused on doing your keyword research, because that's going to help you a long way. When you do that, make sure your pins and boards have the right placements. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is this. And if you guys have any questions, please raise your hand. Call to action. Call to action. I'm going to turn off hand raising and turn it back on because I asked some question. I don't know if the app is glitching, so I'm going to turn it back on. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand now. Yes. So guys, the third one is call to action content. I don't know why. I think it's just because I just love the way that it just sounded. And I said, let me leave that last. Call to action content. What does that mean? And this is something that is part of the masterclass. So I'm really giving you guys insights, but it's going to come in little chunks. So if you want to really have the full-on masterclass, send me a DM, scroll down, DM me those words, and make sure that you're able to connect with me, or just send me a message because it's vital. Or just click the link in my bio, click on the link tree, and make sure you're able to, focus further and see what else we're able to have for you. Now, when you think about call to action content, this is what I mean. Every pin that you have on Pinterest, even every post you have on Instagram, because you're probably going to repurpose something. When you have a call to action on your content, you're not only helping people to do something, you're also helping yourself to make a decision of what you really want to do when people you tell them to do something. Like if I tell you do this, you're gonna do it today. If I tell you do this, you're not gonna do it. I'm not gonna keep telling you something you're not gonna do. But if I keep telling you something that you do and you see value in, and I tell you again and again, now the algorithm is now understanding, okay, this person keeps showing up and says this and this happens. So anytime they post, they're also going to get credit for that. So when you're creating call to action content, whether it's follow for more tips or comment below what your best recipe is, or find out more in the link below. Don't just say buy now, click here to shop now. Like it's boring. Like honestly, that it's not creative. I'm a creative. I'm a visual person, so I'm creative. And when I see creation go through a process and I trust the process, I'm like, look at that. That was a beautiful thing. Think about it, when your house is being built and you see it, when the baby's born, you see, like, there's a process. There's a joy in the process. And that's what Pinterest is. You're not going there for instant gratification. You're not going there for, oh, I posted this today. Now it's out. Now I want to make a movie. You don't want to do that. So with Pinterest, you want to enjoy that process. And sometimes when you enjoy the process, trust me, it gets so much better. So I'm going to get into call to action content. But before I do, we're on LinkedIn Live. Hey, Crystal, welcome to the Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club. How are you?
I am great, Favor. I just got off like an hour-long IG Live. But I had to come up when you said that about Pinterest being, just a process. I'm like, I think that's why I love it so much, because not only can you go there and see the process of different things, like all the DIY tutorials, but you can also like see the process of your customer's journey, and you get to really take a deeper look into, what they like, because if you notice whenever someone pins one of your pins, you can go to their profile and then see what other interests they have on their boards. And so I just feel like Pinterest is such a resource for getting a holistic view of your ideal client. So I love that you said that. I just wanted to toss that in there. And I'm Crystal. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Crystal. I really appreciate it. Now, I would love, because you're also on Pinterest, and I love the value that you've given. So it's not just about me here, it's about the conversation we're having. So, is there anything you've really experienced on your account, especially for your business, that has taken effect when you add SEO practice to it? Because some people don't really see the difference between the impact on those two things.
Well, I would just say the biggest impact is, the information that you shared regarding SEO on my website is very similar to how I approach my content on, sorry, my son's playing a video game. But it's very similar to how I approached my content creation on Pinterest, which like doing the keyword research and all of that type of stuff. I didn't do that for my own website. And so, as we talked and I listened to you speak and we've chatted about SEO, I've just realized, oh my gosh, the very practice that I do of researching keywords and really making sure that people can find what I'm selling on Pinterest, I should be doing the very same thing for my own domain, my own website. And so I have a huge soapbox on that right now, just because I feel like I'm playing catch up after like 6 or 7 years of not, building out my own website's SEO. But the great thing is Pinterest has given me a, wonderful foundation to kind of build upon and off of. So I hope that, kind of relates to your question there. But, the SEO for me has just been an extension of Pinterest keyword research.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like once that is done, there's a lot of things that you don't have to focus on anymore because they've been taken care of. Like once you have your foundation and your house in order, you're good. I treat domain like land. Like if you're buying land, you're buying property, you have a domain, you have intellectual property. It's your website, what you put on it, it's your information. So I treat it like business. Like I'm serious. If I have a website and I want to rank for this word, I'm gonna make sure that whatever content I'm putting out there is resonating with whoever needs it. But they need to find it first to be before they even begin to resonate. So that becomes your keyword strategy. And I said this earlier today. I said your keyword strategy is it's a gateway to your audience. Whoever your audience is, they will find you. Whether it's a word you create, Whether it's a slogan, whether it's a pseudonym, whether it's your business brand name, whatever you want to put out there, it's possible, but you need to have a structure and you need to have on-page SEO for that. So I'm really glad that you said that, Crystal. Thank you so much. And Marianne, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited. I feel like this is the first room I've attended that you have hosted. So thank you for hosting. I actually have a question about Pinterest and keywords, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so can you explain the difference between, these what's the phrase? Long tail keywords and hashtags? Like, is it interchangeably, are you using it interchangeably? And then on top of that, my personal, I guess, field or industry is travel. So for Pinterest, when I am utilizing different destinations, I am researching the keywords, but oftentimes, in travel, there are going to be very common ones like, I don't know, like beach vacations, things to do, Instagram spots. And I know on Instagram, sometimes you have to rotate those hashtags. So can you first explain, one, is there a difference between hashtags and keywords? And two, how important is it to rotate them to each specific board? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I see what you mean. So it's more so like the keywords, like even like hashtags on Pinterest, it's a debate. Like we're not sure, are we supposed to use hashtags? Are we not supposed to use hashtags? And what I've come to realize is, yeah, everybody has their subjective opinion, but I feel like once you're doing this intentionally with the practice of SEO in mind, then all these things are going to be bypassed because at one point they're going to say, okay, now we're supporting hashtags. Are you going to go back to all the thousands of posts that you did that you want to replace hashtags? You're not going to do that. You're probably just going to start that process at that point. But if you really say, okay, let me try and see if it works for me, it did. Like for me, I tried the hashtags before I got to hear, oh, they don't work. And today, that same pin that has probably 3 or 4 hashtags is still picking up saves today and is still growing in thousands of impressions, tens of thousands of impressions till today. So I can imagine if you start using your travel destinations and using hashtags and see what happens. I'm not saying it will work. I'm not saying it won't work. But with what I've seen, because that when you look at the hashtags, I don't know if you notice it too, but they are hyperlinked. Like if you look at it, if you click on it, it can actually lead you to a series of things. So it's pretty much I'll call it a hidden gem on Pinterest to have hashtag strategy, but not fluffing it or not stuffing it. Like if you have like that's one word, if it's maybe even your board name works. Travel destinations use a QR code. I've tried it, it works. Like QR codes are so like if you think about your idea pin and put a QR code and that QR code is going to lead them to maybe a travel destination, it's an idea pin. They can't save it, but they can use their phone. If they're probably on their laptop, they can scan it, they can take a screenshot. Like people can if people want to find something, they're going to get it. People are going to look for something, they're going to find it. So I think at the end of the day, the keyword strategy on Pinterest is highly based on the search volume. And I would say Ubersuggest, and I was also telling Crystal about this too, is my top favorite SEO tool. Shout out to Neil Patel because he did an amazing thing. Like I love the other apps. I love the other people are gonna give you all tools like shiny objects. Yeah, perfect. We could go all day. But I think for me, the success I have seen both for my business, for our clients, for individuals who come through and just maybe ask a few things, for the ones who've come through the courses that we've had, the Pinterest marketing course, for the some trainings, we have some workshops. We did 2 workshops. We've been able to do these things and we've seen the same thing happen, and we realized with Ubersuggest you get the exact words that you need to rank for on Google, on YouTube, and on Pinterest. Why? Because when you search on Google, right, what do you get? You get Twitter cards. You get YouTube snippets. You get those timestamps. If you have timestamps on YouTube, you are doing really well because if you have keywords there, you can really leverage your content. Now, YouTube and Google are together already. Now, Pinterest is your visual aid. If you go to Google Images, you're going to get results. And those results, where's it going to lead you to? Pinterest. So when you think about it, you are so specific that I want to rank for this word because this has a search volume and the cost per click is pretty much your bid. So when you look at the cost volume and you say, okay, it costs 20 something dollars and the volume is about 500, that just means that word has potential to grow. It's a seed that you're sowing. And if you're adding traffic to that source, at some point when the word gets very expensive to use, that word could be 50 cents. So when you think about the value of how you're spending your words, spending your time, your copy, and you're using these words exactly how you want to frame them in your descriptions, you're going to win every single time. Like there's no doubt. Because I've seen bounce rates jump from 30 something percent to 5%. I've seen that. I've seen emails. If you don't send emails, you don't get sales. I've seen that. I've seen those practices. Sometimes I'm like, let me see what happens. And you're surprised. You're like, yeah, if you don't put in the work, you're never going to get those results. So that's why I've really been so specific on, making sure that your keywords, your strategies, all those things are together. And if you're doing Pinterest, I would say the best thing to start with is to see where your related keywords are. Because just like YouTube, if somebody wants to rank on YouTube, the goal for someone on YouTube is to be suggested by YouTube for you to your audience. That's the most important part because you can rank, you can put your keywords, but you also want to rank. Same thing for Pinterest. If you want to think about ranking for travel destinations or Bali destinations or flight trips, to try. Think about those words that you're finding in the bold letters and the related search. You're going to notice that there's going to be a resemblance between the two. And those two things Uber Suggests will tell you. And the good thing with Uber Suggests is that it also tracks Pinterest and it tracks Facebook. So if you have a Facebook group, if you have a Facebook channel, think about your Facebook, right? You have a Facebook pixel. On Pinterest, you have a Pinterest tag. And a Pinterest tag is like your Facebook pixel. And Uber Suggest can pick up your Facebook and can pick up your pixel on Pinterest as well as a tag. So that tells you that if you use Uber Suggest and you're using your Facebook to post content, you're using your Pinterest to post pictures, blogs, travel destinations, emails, you're sending them there to your Facebook groups, like you're literally interacting your social media channels with your social media community, you will be winning every time. And once you use Uber Suggest, I think that's going to be a really good gateway for you to really find your audience and maximize like per quarter. So I don't know, have you used Uber Suggest before, Marianne?
No, I haven't. It's actually the first time I'm hearing this.
Oh.
Hey, Favor, could I hop in here and add just a couple of things?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So, Marianne, one of the things that first came up to me when you started talking was kind of like, what do you want to be known for? And that's the question that all of your boards should answer and point to. And by the way, Favor, that gem about the QR code, that is really good because that's the major downfall of the idea pins is that they're not clickable and they don't go anywhere. So I'm definitely going to check that out and try something like that. But anyway, Marianne, what do you want to be known for? And in terms of hashtags are, there's some good things and bad things about them. One reason why I like hashtags is because my number one product on Pinterest are senior night gifts. I do presents or gifts for athletes, and there's a big event every year called Senior Night for every single sport. And ever since I started using Pinterest, I always use the hashtag Senior Night. So if you go on Pinterest and search that, you'll probably see some of my work or whatever. And so that's kind of great because on one hand, it builds credibility and trust and all that type of stuff because, you're seeing all of these examples of my work. Now, there's someone else here on Clubhouse who's really great. Her name's Jana O. She pointed out that for some fields, using hashtags is not that great because people will then copy content. So you have to kind of be prepared for that and, just aware that that is a downside. So I wanted to share that about hashtags. And then the other thing about posting, Jana made the suggestion a couple weeks ago that you post at least, like a week apart. And I use Tailwind and I space my stuff out about 31 days apart. And I've heard different people talking. I don't know who it was, but they suggested not posting to the same URL every day. So like if you post to Marianne.com on Monday or your first post, the second post, you could do like marianne.com/blog, but you want that pin to lead to a different landing page. Obviously, that's related to the pin, but you don't want all of the pins going to the same landing page. Now, I will say that's something that I heard, but it has not proven true for me personally, because I have sent so much traffic to just collagenwood.com before I had a Shopify store, and that never impacted me negatively. But I think Pinterest recognized that people were finding what they were looking for. So, sorry, Favor, I just had to drop that. It was in my head, and I thought, I have to let Marianne know what I found just from my own experience. So, thanks. I'm done speaking.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Crystal. I think even the story that you told me about how like your business, when I think there was a time that someone saved the pin and then came back, took a screenshot. When I hear that story is still so like fresh to me, you know? So I would really love, because people, I don't think everybody knows how Pinterest works. And sometimes they don't even know how to work Pinterest. But I think if you use these simple steps, it's gonna really take the crown for you. So honestly speaking, I would love you to like just really tell us the story, honestly speaking, because that would also help us have more clarity and give us a perspective on how to really look at Pinterest and SEO.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to get me started on one of my all-time favorite topics, which is Pinterest. But okay, so the story goes like this. I think it was a few months ago, someone messaged me through the chat app in my Shopify store, and she was wanting to buy a photo prop, because there's two things I sell: senior gifts that are giant collages for the athletes, and then I also sell photo props for senior portraits and senior pictures. And she said, can I get this photo prop by Saturday? Let's say it was Thursday. I was like, yeah, no problem. We'll just have to overnight it. I'm going to have to upgrade your shipping, blah, blah, blah. She was cool with it. And I was like, well, how did you find me? And she said, a few months ago, or like a few weeks ago, I was on Pinterest and I saw your photo prop. And so I screenshot it so I could save it for later, because I wanted to get it. And then she said, I was searching for photo props and I saw you on Amazon. I saw the same picture because I have an Amazon handmade shop. And then she said she found the picture again, but this time it led to, maybe it was on Pinterest, and it led to my actual Shopify store. And that's when she reached out to say, I want to buy it. But the problem is, she had gotten the idea from Pinterest like weeks or months before, but then she waited till the last minute to buy it. And it was just so funny, because if she would have bought it then, she wouldn't have had to pay for the upgraded shipping. And she was like, you're all over the place, so where should I actually purchase this? And I was like, well, right here in my Shopify store, that's the best place. But it all started out with a screenshot from Pinterest.
That's a that's an amazing story. Honestly, I feel like this is what it is. Pinterest is all about planning, saving, inspiring, purchasing, connecting. Like I've literally seen in real time. I know exactly what Crystal is explaining, because I know how that feels. It's so amazing to know how you can be able to post something. You don't know who's gonna see it. When they find it, they're the exact person that you're looking for. Like that's an amazing feeling. Like you don't want to work hard for that. You want to make sure that you earn that. But by earning that, you have to put in that time. So that's an amazing factor, because when you think about creating content on Pinterest, it's no longer about your post, or what do I want to post. It's about what are people seeing. And when you look at your analytics and you look at all the posts that you've done, do an analysis. Literally go to your analytics and ask yourself on your Pinterest business account, if you have one, and look at it and say, okay, I'm going to tap on the pins that were created in the last 30 days. You're going to see organic, you're going to see paid. If you're doing both, cool. That's even better, because you're able to leverage and find your audience and retarget them and really build a community. That's the whole point of Pinterest, because it's a visual search engine. So how do you keep people coming back? And when you look at your analytics, look at the ones that have static pins, video pins. It's going to tell you, okay, this is what exactly you're going to be able to do with your Pinterest. This is how you're able to convert Pinterest and let people know, okay, this is my content. This is what I'm providing. This is where you need to go. Because without a call to action, I don't think Crystal would have had that saving ability, or someone to screenshot that, if she didn't have a call to action. because a call to action is going to make them know, okay, I probably need this next year. I probably need this next week. I probably need this in the next few months. So I'm going to save it so that when I think about it, I'm going to put it down. Some people are impulse. People will just impulsively buy it. Some people will take their time. Some people will budget it into the next, month. Some people have to, think about the family. So there are so many factors. You don't control that at all. You have no say. But at the end of the day, if you're able to impact someone and inspire them, they can say, okay, I'm going to invest this amount of time. I'm going to invest this amount of money. I'm going to invest this amount of resource to make sure that I can get to the next point. And that's why I love this platform. It's amazing. We're here on LinkedIn Live. We're here on Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club on Clubhouse. It's amazing. This is my first LinkedIn experience. So if you want to see me on LinkedIn, I'm still on LinkedIn right now, 45 minutes in. We're going to be closing the room in the next 15 minutes. But I want to tell you guys real quickly before we go to something really important that I saved for the last is this. Make sure that you're able to follow the Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club today if you haven't followed, because we're really getting bigger, better, amazing. I've met a lot of people, and a lot of people, I want them to connect with each other. Like, things are happening in the DMs. People are connecting. People are changing lives. So I think this is really where I also want to create this impact and help as well. So if you feel free to DM me, make sure that you're able to DM me. Either you're into the masterclass or you're into the summit. We're going to run a Pinterest and SEO marketing masterclass and summit. We're going to have that in July. July 10th is the deadline. It's going to be between July 13th and 14th. If you need the link, please DM me, and you're going to send me a message, or you can actually even see my email there. So if you want to request or anything further inquiries, please do ahead. Just send me an email. Let me know exactly what you need, because Pinterest right now, as we're being in this room, I really want you to understand that when we take those 2 hours together in the masterclass, you're going to leave like I want you to teach me. That's really my goal. I want you to teach me. Like, I want you to show me what I probably didn't see on Pinterest. That's my goal, because it's so impactful when you can teach someone else and someone can teach another person. That I'm not here to teach. I want to learn. That's why I go into some rooms, I listen. I'm not going to be talking all day. So I feel like with the masterclass, with the summit, all the full details are going to be in those links. So if you want to be a part of this, send me a message and I'll be able to respond to you directly. We're on LinkedIn as well. Now, what I want to tell you today as well is that because we're on LinkedIn Live, because we're on the Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club, there's 3 pro tips I talked about: keyword research, pins and boards placements, and call to action content. You have to make sure that all this content is relating to your business over time, and it's going to start increasing in practice, increasing in ability, because sometimes when you're creating content, it's not always about, oh, I'm going to post 15 times a day. Those things can really hurt. And I'm so happy that Crystal was able to also bring that out, that when you keep sending them to the same link, it's like you're spamming the account. And you don't want to spam the account, because when you spam the account, it's like you're not really caring about who's listening or who's talking, because you're just adding a lot of keyword stuff and it's not good. So this is what I would say. When you are creating content, especially with call to action content, you have to be very intentional about who you're serving, how you're serving them, and then use your idea pins wisely. Use them wisely. Make sure you're able to use these keywords where we talked about them. The bold section, have an ABC method. Look for marketing A, marketing B, marketing C. You're going to see different things. You're going to see different bold letters. Start there. Use your long tail keywords, because even Marianne, you talked about long tail keywords. If you have those 2 to 5 words and those keywords are always being used within like a word cloud, think about a word cloud. All the words that you have that you want to use, because you have a business, you have a brand, you have a call to action, you have a structure. So your business model, your core objectives, your principles, what are the procedures you have in your business? Do people look at your brand and does that emulate? One thing I would love to see is probably like a video cover on Pinterest. People don't use video covers a lot. And that's really a place that you can drive conversions literally 100%. It's like coming into your house and it's like going to Disney World, like you just enjoy what you're looking at, because you're in an experience. You're not just showing up and there's silence, literally think about your Pinterest. Have video, have sound, have motion, have graphics, have color. have a style, have something like let me see your brand colors. Let me know, okay, that's your brand color. I keep seeing blue, I keep seeing purple, I keep seeing red, I keep seeing yellow. Something is going to resonate, and someone, because they just love that color, is going to resonate with you, not even because of what you said, but it's because of how you presented yourself. So that's really what Pinterest is all about. So make sure that you're able to tap into those things. So if you have any questions, we're going to be closing the room in the next 9 minutes. I'll be closing the hands raising in the next 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. Okay, we have Tamika coming. We have Tamika. Hey, Tamika.
Hey, Favor, how you doing?
I'm
Hi, everyone.
I'm doing well. How are you? How's everything?
So, I mean, it's great listening. I feel like I'm in a space where I probably need to listen and not say anything, but I just had to say that this all sounds awesome, except that I feel like a little lost. I'm just like, half of what he's talking about sounds awful. I want awesome. I want to jump in trying to do it, but I don't have a clue. So there were so many things that you wrote down, and I was just like literally writing them. Okay, go Google that afterwards, because I felt like based on my point of no, some of the things just felt like, okay, I don't even understand where to find that or how to do that, and so on and so forth. So, at the risk of the time we're at now, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to register for the sessions you have upcoming so I can better understand, but do my homework before, because I'm trying to understand SEO more. I have a blog, and my usual, it hasn't gotten as much traffic as I think it could. So I've been trying to figure that out. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. It's the how to that I'm trying to figure out, but I suspect that this is my learning curve. But thank you for all that you've shared so far. I'll continue to listen and to go do my homework. So that's all I had to weigh in and say, but thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, Tamika. I really appreciate that. I would definitely love to have you there in the masterclass or the summit, because what you just said is going to solve a lot of problems. That's literally what the whole point is, because the resources, the guides, the way you're going to automate your structures, because right now we're getting more advanced with technology, and so is content. So if we can be really visual and be able to be impactful while we spend less time online and more time focusing on really like what we care about, our families, our time with friends. Like, you don't want to be posting this and forgetting about people that you really care about you. So especially last year, one thing I really know about, what we have is that we don't have much time. you know, we really have to make sure that we are able to impact the people we love, help people, and Pinterest is all about inspiration. So if you can be there and help someone try something new because you showed up as an idea pin for them, your business is going to help impact, and that's going to build society. And that's why I'm really excited about this masterclass, because it's going to give you in-depth analysis, and especially for SEO, that's what we're going to be focusing on. There's going to be an SEO checklist in this masterclass and the summit. So it's going to literally break down, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? If you don't, we're going to go back and make sure that you do, because there's no way you're going to rank online if those things are not in place, because 3 months later you want to know what effort you've put in place to make sure that you can make back your ROI.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Hey, Marnay, welcome. How are you?
I'm well, Favor. Good afternoon, shall I say. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, always. I'd like to follow you around Clubhouse.
Yeah.
so, I wanted to say thanks to everyone for all of their knowledge and wisdom. Favor, as always, dropping gems when you certainly don't have to. Crystal, Marianne, so nice to meet you and hear from you. You guys are such a inspiration and a wealth of knowledge. And Tamika, it'll all come together. Just keep trucking forward. You're in the right hands with Favor. I still use Pinterest as a consumer, but I'm trying to understand how to apply it, in the business sense. And I think, Favor, you and I talked about this before. So I always show up in these rooms just so I can wrap my mind around the idea of adding another social media, way of connecting with people to my plate, because it's a lot. We all have real lives outside of running these social media businesses, etc. So I just wanted to say thanks, and to Crystal, this really speaks when she told the story about the lady who took the screenshot. So I'm one of those people. I'm a screenshotter. If I want to buy something, I'm totally a screenshotter. I'm old school. And so I'll just take a screenshot. And when I go through my photos, I'm like, oh, yeah, I was going to get that. But I was going to say that speaks to the continuity that you have in your business. And that is so inspiring. And I hope that people in the audience grab that gem and get that nugget, because that lady took that screenshot on every platform she went on. She was able to identify the imagery that was already in her mind and in her phone, and knew immediately that that was connected to Crystal's product. So, she was already sold when she took the screenshot to begin with. But then she went to other platforms, and that reiterated that she needed this product and this was the right fit for her. So I just felt like that was a little nugget, and I hope that people pick that up. That continuity is major. When you have different colors, different fonts, different designs on every platform because you think you're appealing to that platform, that can actually hurt you. Just stay consistent. Stay consistent throughout, and people will see you on one platform and see you on another, and that builds a sort of confidence in them, where you, even if you're a solopreneur, a solo entrepreneur, it makes them feel like, okay, this is a reputable business because they're consistent on all platforms. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So thanks everyone for their wisdom.
You're most welcome, Marne. That is powerful. I really love what you said, because when you think about screenshotting, we are screenshotting literally everything every day. We're Googling every day. This is a consumer behavior that is known. Like, we understand that this is what we do. So when we understand that we can apply our own efforts and then give people value, and then they now make that purchase, that informative decision to say, okay, this person has shown up every single time I've come to Pinterest. Every single time I'm here, I'm getting value from this feed. Of course, at some point, I'm going to resonate. I'm like, this person actually exists. Like, it's a human to human relationship. So now you've built a brand. Now you've built awareness. And I love Pinterest because in the Pinterest ad section, you have two options. Do you want to find new customers, or do you want to retarget new customers? So if you retarget old customers, new customers, potential customers, on Facebook, there's something called lookalike audience. On Pinterest, it's called actor-like audience. An actor-like audience and a lookalike audience, I'm looking, but on Pinterest, I'm acting. I'm doing something. I'm taking action. And that's what you want for your business. You want people to take action. When you say call to action content, I want you to say, follow me for more tips. Share this content. Save this board for next week. We're coming back to do this. Like, there's Pinterest Live. I've gone to about 2 Pinterest Live sessions. They've done it every month. We don't know if it's going to come. I really hope it comes for us, but it's still in beta mode. They're still doing it. And I've seen how Pinterest Live is right connected to your products, connected to your pins. When you think about product tagging, you can literally tag a product, and let's say you have 5 blogs, you have 5 images, you can product tag, because sometimes when you think about pins, when you click on a pin, it's going to drag you all the way down and you're going to see another complete list of other pins. You can stop that flow. By stopping the flow, you product tag. And when you product tag, you can product tag your other 4 blogs, which is also known as backlinks for SEO. You're beefing up your algorithm. The list is endless. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about in the masterclass and the summit. And I'm so happy that you mentioned this, Marne, that it's about acting. It's about inspiration. It's about, can I tell you to do something and you see the value in it? And on Pinterest, you have 4 tabs. There may be more, but there's the shop tab if you have a shop. There's the created tab. There's the saved tab. And then there's the tried tab. What's the tried tab? I tried something that you posted. Now someone's gonna try that and say, oh yeah, I can do it better, or I can do it just like that, or I can do it in a different way. You're inspiring someone to take action. And then that actor, like, you're now repurposing your audience. You're sending them videos. You're spending $1 a day on Pinterest. You're getting so much back. Trust me, the list is endless. So there's a way you don't have to think about the finances and focus on your content, that the right people will show up and they'll be able to do the right things for you. So that's what we're talking about in the masterclass. There are going to be emails that are going to be sent out this weekend about it, because July, God willing, we're going to really go deep into this and make sure that it's really understood. And the links are going to be accessible to you once you DM or just join the email list. So you guys have been amazing. It's 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm so glad you guys were able to be here. We've been on LinkedIn Live. We've been on Clubhouse. This is my first LinkedIn Live in my Pinterest and SEO Marketing Club on Clubhouse. So if you're on LinkedIn, Click on the links in the description. If you're here on Clubhouse, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I really want to connect with you further. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, DM me. I'm all over the internet. So we can be able to have an omni-channel experience. So before we go, I know we have amazing people on stage, and I would just love to give you guys a voice and just say in 60 seconds, let them know about you and what you can be able to do for them as well. I really appreciate your time. And then we can start with Crystal, and then we end with Marnay before we close up.
Hey, thanks so much, Favor. I always appreciate the opportunity to speak on your stage. So, for those of you who've never met me before, I am a Pinterest strategist for product sellers, primarily Shopify e-commerce store owners. And I have found a superpower in connecting Shopify and Pinterest and making that magic work for you. So, if that's something that you're interested in, please reach out and DM me, and also visit pinforbusiness.com. On the other hand, I wanted to respond to Marnay and just say thank you so much for recognizing something that I've worked really hard to do. And I really feel like that's my business's competitive edge. Not my Pinterest business yet, but my product-based business, because I'm consistent. And it's really important, like you said, to do that. I know you mentioned it's difficult to be on a multitude of platforms, but there's technology to help you do that. And it's really important that you diversify your social portfolio. And I'll tell you why, because my Instagram account got, closed down last week for no fault of my own. The only reason they gave me was that I was impersonating someone. And, I'm only myself, so I don't know that you could impersonate yourself, but whatever. Everything was gone. Pictures, IGTV, IG Live, stories, everything was gone. And so the great news is I use a scheduler called Smarter Queue. So content wise, I had all my content, so that's completely fine. I post that same content everywhere so I can stay consistent. And there are people who will tell you to do this or do that because this is the best practice or whatever. But I think my other superpower is choosing what works for my business. And I want to encourage all of you to do the same thing, because people are going to have a lot of different ideas. But it comes down to you, your perfect product, your perfect platform to reach the perfect people that you want to work with. And if you're just on one platform, be careful. Listen to Favor, build your SEO on your website, because at the end of the day, that's the only real estate you own. And make sure you're building your email list. That's the other reason why I wasn't completely devastated when this happened to me on Instagram. So I still had my email list, and I can still contact my people and say, hey, look, crazy thing happened, heads up, and just, kind of be a, what do you call that, tribute for all the people that I have in my community. So having said that, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that'd be amazing. And thank you so much, Favor.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Marianne, up to you next.
Thank you so much for having me. So I have been on Instagram since 2011. So if anybody has any questions on Instagram, feel free to slide into my DM, because that's my specialty. So yeah, other than that, thank you so much for having me, and be sure to ping me for the next one, because I love to join. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Yeah, definitely ping you in for sure. Thank you so much for being here. Tamika.
Yes, I am a learning and organizational development blogger. No, professional, but I blog on personal growth and self leadership themes. I'm on LinkedIn. I host my site on WordPress. I'm trying to understand SEO marketing so that I can leverage and engage with new people, and then certainly learning how to navigate Clubhouse. I'm kind of new to the space as well, but I'm happy I came across Favor, and I'm happy to have listened to all of you, and I'm just excited about continuing to learn.
Thank you so much for being here, Tamika. I really appreciate it. And Marnay.
Hey, last but not least, but I love it. So I am a flight attendant, believe it or not. That's my actual job. It pays the bills and gives me all my health benefits. But with that being said, out of that was born the non-for-profit Black in Aviation. And we're down here in Texas, and I am in the process of promoting that and setting that up. So if you know anyone who is of African American descent and they want to get into the world of aviation, follow us over here at Clubhouse. If you click on my profile and go down to the bottom, it's the very first club. We also have people of other ethnicities in there as well, because we love to hear your perspective. So if you work in aviation or know anyone who wants to work in aviation, tell them to join the club. This is not biased. It is not only for Black people, but it is to uplift and inform Black people about this beautiful world of aviation that can give people a beautiful career. So on top of that, I also am a new YouTuber. I make Clean With Me and Decorate With Me videos. And so that is why I follow Favor around in these Pinterest rooms, so I can figure out how to connect that to my YouTube channel and make that as prosperous as possible. So if you ever need some cleaning therapy, find me over at YouTube under the same name, Martinez Anita, and we can clean together. Thank you for having me on the stage, Favor.
You're most welcome. Thank you all for being here. There's going to be one more thing I want you guys to do for me that's really going to help me today. And I'm so excited to try this with you. I tried it last time and it worked. And I was like, oh, this is really good for me to help and come back, because I really want to come back next week. Next week, exactly. Yeah, next week. And, bring this information back and bring more tips so you guys can be able to be part of this LinkedIn Live and Pinterest SEO marketing strategy on Clubhouse. So I will say this: click the link in my bio. Do me a quick favor. Click the link in my bio and either Instagram or Twitter. And then you will see where it says Linktree, like Visit Flav's Linktree. And then when you click on Linktree, it's going to give you an option. And the option is for you to join the room Q&A and polls. When you click on that, it's going to give you the room Q&A and polls. You're going to click on the poll, and when you click on poll, there's going to be a poll it's going to ask you a question. And I would love to get your answers today. So, okay, I got one answer now. If you guys can be able to join.
That was me.
That was you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm quick. I do what you say.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys are able to do if you guys are able to do it, please just join us real quickly. Click the link in my bio. Click on the link tree, and then the first one you see up there says join room and Q&A. Join room Q&A plus polls. And then once you get in there, it's going to ask you a question, and I would love to get your answers. It would be really nice to know.
I'm clicking it, but it doesn't seem responsive. I don't know if I'm in the wrong view or this is just my Clubhouse inexperience.
No, when you clicked on it, did it ask you to write your name?
No.
Oh, okay.
Me either, Favor. Just heads up.
Yeah, like I can read it, but when I tap on either links, nothing happens.
Okay, wait, Marianne, how did you do it?
I went to the link. Actually, did you guys do it through Instagram? Because I did it through Twitter.
Yep, Instagram is where I tried.
Yeah, Instagram is where I tried.
I did the Twitter link, so try the Twitter link. Not sure why. I feel like the link should be the same. But try the Twitter and see if it works.
Yeah, try the Twitter. Let's see if it works, because it's the same thing on Instagram. That's weird. Let me see. Because it shows me there are two people. Okay, if you're on LinkedIn, click on the link and then go to Linktree. It's going to say, one of the boxes are going to say visit Linktree. And then it's going to ask you to put your name.
Oh, Favor, you know what? It may work on Instagram. I was trying to click the first box.
Yeah, the very first. Oh, yeah. Yeah, even I got a message just in. I just got a text that said it's working. Yeah. So join room. Okay. Okay, I just got a message in as well. Okay. Everybody's saying wow. Okay, everybody's in now. At least I'm getting 5. We've gotten 5 responses. Okay, everybody's saying none. Wow. This is interesting. I'm I'm interested to know why, but I would love you guys to come next week, cuz this has definitely given me feedback. Okay, somebody said, okay, it changed a little bit. Okay, individual business. Okay. I see. So 5 use. Okay, now I see. Now I see it. So 5 said business. And let me give you guys a question so that you guys know what's going on. I asked, what do you use Pinterest for? So I was looking at the graph and I was like, oh, let me read it again so you guys can see it. So we had 6 attendees that did it, and 5 people said they use Pinterest for business, and one person said they don't use none of the two, and then the other one was individual. So I just wanted to know, do you use it for personal, for business, or none? And since that has been answered, I'm glad you guys have told me that it's business, because next week I'll come back again on Pinterest and also on LinkedIn Live to talk about this in depth so we can be able to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me. But most importantly, this masterclass, it's only a limited number of seats, by the way, and then there's a deadline too. So the earlier you get in, the better, because it's going to be highly intensive, and I'm so excited because it's going to be very visual. You will be able to share your screen, I'll share my screen. We'll be able to really have interactive, because I really want to see what the problem is and find that solution so we can be able to move to the next point, especially for everyone. So I'm excited. You guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for participating. I'm about to log off from LinkedIn Live. I'm going to reach out to you guys and see how we can be able to communicate further. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next room. So with that said, by the way, before I go, this evening we have a podcast premium with Troy on how to nurture and scale leads for brands at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys are still available, you guys will be here. Troy has an amazing feedback for you guys. So with that said, have an amazing time. I'll catch you guys in the clubhouse streets, and I can't wait to connect with each and every one of you. Have a wonderful night, day, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.
Thank you. I'm about to watch my Flav Beats.
Thank you, babe.
Hey, yeah, watch the video. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all. Thanks, Favor.
You're welcome.